In this video, we completely break down, without a doubt, one of the most exciting new developments to hit Sarasota County, Florida in years. This is a lot of information, so let's jump in. Real quick, for those that don't know me, I'm Adam Hancock. I have a real estate group in Southwest Florida, and I put out daily videos on Florida relocation and investment assistance. And for access to over 90 videos in the last 11 months and counting. This video's community focus is on the brand new development of Waterside Place at Lakewood Ranch. Because this community is so unique and offers so much, we're going to really get into the detail to try to give you context on whether it may or may not be a good fit for you and your family. So this is going to include a background, what builders are involved, which businesses and restaurants are involved, how the area came to be. We're going to talk about the amenities, not just in the individual communities, but also the mixed amenities that they're going to offer in totality. We're going to talk about the individual housing on both two sections of the community, as well as the apartments and condos that are coming down the line. And finally, we're going to talk about the fees, the lot availability, the timeline of building, quick move-in availability, and anything else you would possibly want to know. So let's get started. Okay, so Waterside at Lakewood Ranch. We're going to start off with kind of our preface background. So this community is offering something really, really new that is really exciting to the area. So the suburbs are traditionally, you have the very, very nice amenities within your own community, and a lot of them are kind of going out east. So you kind of have this sacrifice of close to town, but you have benefit of better housing, kind of suburban type of housing feel, mixed amenities, that kind of thing. So what this one is really combining is suburbia with mixed use walkability, which is a really emerging need for people that really want to be close to kind of the eclectic shops and that kind of stuff, but like suburban housing and or needs more space and or need nice schools. So not only will we have like the single family homes in a wide variety of price points, but also apartments, condos, townhomes, but a full-on village will be built in here with dining, shopping, and entertainment options. And the village is kind of the village as a whole is kind of set up like this. So the two main housing districts here, we'll get in way deeper here in a second, but you're going to kind of see this big thing. So several fresh water bodies of water, lakes, that kind of thing. There's going to be corporate offices, there's going to be restaurants, there's going to be green space, all this kind of stuff, super, super unique. So this will be all within this development. So you kind of have all of that kind of stuff at your fingertips, but then also those short drives to town like every other community. So it gives you really that combination for people that really are trying to do both. Like people that would have liked to live west of the trail downtown, but either the schools or the price point or something just didn't work. This one kind of gives you the happy medium. I think that's the biggest takeaway. So the two main sections are the Shoreview community, which has one builder, and the Lake House Cove community, which has three builders. And these kind of feel one and the same when you're driving through, but technically they are completely split from a housing and an amenity standpoint. Like I said, I'm going to get way in deeper here during number 3, which is our housing section. So that kind of sums up kind of this kind of broad background here. I want to talk about location of the place as a whole. So Waterside sits right here. So this is going to be in one of those like southern, it is east of I-75, but one of those southern locations that I always really preach about. So in addition to having kind of that mixed use space within the community, which I think is a huge value add, the location on a map is also an incredible location for being in a suburban housing development in Sarasota County. So this is considered Lakewood Ranch, but it's one of the only communities that is on the Sarasota County side, where the rest would be on Manatee County. And then this is going to put you that southern kind of like southern feel like the Windward Neal community was by all this fresh bodies of water here. So what it gives you in context is 3 miles to downtown Lakewood Ranch, which is right here. It gives you 4 miles to University Town Center, which is that brand new mall, a bunch of restaurants and shops, a brand new Target, all that kind of stuff is right down the street from here, which is nice, including Nathan Benderson Park, which is lovely, and there's kayaking, and they do the national crew competitions there. There's a really nice children's park there, and that's right next to the University Town Center Mall. It puts you just 9.5 miles to downtown Sarasota, so that's a really, really nice thing because a lot of the communities are at least 10 minutes further. And because of that proximity, you're only 14 miles from Lido Beach and only 16 miles from Siesta Key Beach. So I think really, really nice location. So that's just another thing that really makes this one of my favorite communities if it fits your criteria at the given moment. And then the last thing I want to mention real quick on kind of background, like general context here, is the schools. So some of these communities you can get a little far west, and it will put you into the Booker school zone, which is, and they have charter programs, that kind of thing, but some of those schools are a little bit lower rated, like 4 out of 10s and that kind of thing. So then you have to think, do I go to private school? And that, that's kind of that, like, if you have a high price point, that's kind of that struggle of really high affordability, but also have young children. So this one puts you in Robert Willis and the Robert Willis Elementary and the Dan Nolan Middle School District, which are really nicely rated schools. You can look those up. And then you also have access to Pineview, which is the big school of the gifted in Venice. You can do Out-of-Door Academy, which has, I think it's middle to high is the one over here. And then you have St. Stephen's Academy. There's a lot of private pre-K schools within the district, like Goddard and Imagine and all these other ones too. But the actual public elementary and middle is not bad. So if you have kids in that range, so at least for the foreseeable future, you'll have some really nice school districts available, which is also a little surprising when people see the location. So I wanted to mention that. So that kind of sums up the background. I want to hop to amenities, and let's really break down what this one has to offer. Okay, so from an amenity standpoint, I want to first talk about holistic amenities for the community, and then I'm going to talk about the individual amenities that are in each side of the housing developments. So again, big draw to here. This is going to be, the renderings for this look pretty incredible, what they're going to build inside this place. So I'm going to kind of run down here. So we're talking a Waterside Place. So the whole community is called Waterside. Waterside Place is this kind of town center idea. And what we're looking at is a town center that includes 115,000 square feet of inline and freestanding commercial space. So you're going to have a lot of vendors in here and a lot of things accessible. Some of the businesses that are going to be included are boutiques, restaurants, spas, and neighborhood-oriented professional services. So I'm going to break down some of the, a lot of the tenants have already been announced actually, so I'm going to break down some of who those tenants are so you can get an idea of what they're trying to do here. Really exciting stuff in my opinion. So kind of the scene here is all this is going to be set around Kingfisher Lake. So what that's going to do is this big lake is they're going to be able to create the, like lakefront dining and all this kind of, like if you've ever been to downtown Lakewood Ranch where you can kind of walk around the water and grab ice cream and all this kind of stuff. They're doing that, but like that on steroids. So that's going to be kind of cool use of that. And then one of the really smart things they did is they announced like 25-foot wide sidewalks. So what that's going to allow, if you kind of picture like some of the sidewalk dining and walking, it's going to kind of picture this really nice balance of like, you can be hanging out and eating on the sidewalk or getting ice cream and walking, but you're not going to be like skirting past people that are strollers and all this kind of stuff. So it's going to be really nice and a really nice way to just kind of enjoy the scene without being bumped up against everyone. And they also have, I'm going to talk about tenants in a second, but they also have a lot of community stuff planned. So they have like green space and this, like these lawn areas and this kind of thing. So they're going to be announcing concerts, festivals. They're going to be doing farmers markets. That'll be held in Waterside Park. So it's kind of an 8-acre peninsula. And one of the cool things is the Players Center of Performing Arts, which is Sarasota's oldest one of its kind, is also announcing a new home inside here. And it's a theater that will host nearly 400 events a year. So really cool. They're kind of bringing this really, one of the big draws of Sarasota is the deep art culture that comes with like how the evolution of how Ringling designed and came here and did all this stuff. A lot of people like downtown for that reason. But if you can bring a little of that to the suburbs, that's what, when I moved back here, my kind of hedge was it was going to get cooler. But I really like the beaches and the housing here better. So if you can bring that little bit to like central eastern Sarasota where a lot of the main family housing districts lie, then it kind of brings it full circle. So I'm going to run down some tenants real quick just to give you a little bit more context of what that's going to look like. Okay, so announced so far you have Crop Cold Pressed Juice, which they do smoothies, SEI bowls, I'm saying that wrong, cold pressed juice. They have several locations in Sarasota, so that's kind of a nice option. This Duck Donuts place, I'm not familiar with them. I'm guessing it's some sort of franchise. O&A Coffee and Supply, so they have another location right off of Main Street and south of Lemon in downtown Sarasota. The coffee's really good cold brew. Kilwins, so there's another one of those in St. Armands too. The Paint Nail Bar, you can kind of see some of these professional services, law firm. So Fresh, so that's kind of like a salads bowl place, and they're all throughout South Tampa as well. They have a yoga shack they put in here. So there's a lot more commercial space available, but you can kind of get the vibe is them coming out front with these kind of businesses, I think gives me a really good impression of like, they're really, really intentional here. These aren't like these large franchise places. The style of all these places individually are really cool, and the other locations that some of them have are in the main districts where everybody's trying to get to. So having a second location here, I think it kind of gives you a real good feel for the style of what this thing's gonna look like. So I think that's exciting. And then finally, I want to talk real quick about the individual communities. So the two different communities are Shoreview and Lake House Cove, like I mentioned, and I'm going to get way deeper in the housing there and talk about that in a second. But briefly here, I want to talk about the amenities. So the way this is split again is that the entire neighborhood, even like the apartments and all the stuff, have access to Waterside Place. That's your central district. The housing, the residential housing, single family purchasable housing is split amongst Shoreview and Lake House Cove exclusively, and those are separate from each other, very close to each other. So this is Shoreview, this is the map. So Shoreview is simply 246 homes. It's 100% built by Pulte Homes, which Pulte owns DeVosta. They build at Sapphire Point, a bunch of different places in Sarasota. And it's basically this surrounding lake idea. So you're gonna have preservation lots, you're gonna have lakefront lots, and you're going to have a myriad of different prices for those. But amenity-wise for this section, the residents will have private access to a pool outside of their own private pools, fitness center, meeting room, tennis, and or pickleball. That's the plan there. The two communities, like I said, they're separate associations, and they're not going to share amongst the amenities. So that's important to note. Lake House Cove is kind of set up like this. Lake House Cove is the premium side. They're the one with 4 builders versus 1. So you're going to see some of that translate through in what's available as far as views and the way the grounds look. But Lake House Cove is going to have a state-of-the-art community center. They're going to have a fitness center and a resort-style pool. They're going to have a kayak launch, and storage will be provided for residents for kayaks, there, as well as dog parks, a playground, bocce ball, and pickleball or sports courts, indoor sports courts. So you kind of cool there. I like that they're separate. I mean, it does kind of feel if you buy on one side or the other, it does feel separate. So the amenities are going to feel that way as well. And they're going to do. I mentioned the kayak thing. They're planning to do here. Like supposed to have water taxis, and they're supposed to be really smart about the way that they're going to bring people over from the houses to the Waterside Place with beyond car. So there's going to be a lot of real cool intangibles here that nowhere else is going to have. So I think it's kind of a point in time. I think it's a really cool opportunity for people. And I wanted to kind of drive that home if you can't be here in person to see it. So I think that kind of hopefully gives you the gist of amenities. Now let's hop to our third section and talk specifically about the housing. Okay, now we're going to talk about housing. If you remember what I mentioned previously, we got a few different things going on here. So we have 2 main residential districts for single-family homes, one being Shoreview, which is the 1-builder community, the other being Lake House Cove, which is the 3-builder community, and then you have some apartment and some rental type of options. So I'm going to talk about Shoreview first. I'm going to talk a little bit about the basics, then show the models, do the same for Lake House Cove, and at the end I'll hit everything else. So we're going to hop in and get started. So if you remember, we're working with about 246 plus homes here. Price range from about the low $500,000-ish to about $800,000. This is built by Pulte Homes, which is that real large builder that owns DeVosta and Centex and a few others. Square footage wise, you have 9 main floor plan base models from about 2,000 to 4,700-ish square feet, about 3 to 5 bedrooms with similar type of bathroom sizes, 2 to 3 car garages, and 1 to 2 stories here. So because of the type of builder here in this side, it's going to be like a lot of the other communities in Lakewood as far as like the base and the semi-custom, just a different development. So this one's going to be pretty easy to get your head around if you're used to this type of builder. So let's hop and look at the specific models next. So again, I mentioned 9 main floor plans. I kind of have them in most expensive to least expensive here. But so the Summerwood, they're coming out at about 489K as the lowest entry price point in here. Now with the average lot premiums of like 15 to 50, 60K, there's not really an entry level price point in here that's under 500,000 realistically, because you can't buy the house without the lot. But the Summerwood it's a popular plan, and the size you can get from 2,000 to 3,000 square feet. So a lot of what it's going to take you from here to here is going to be structural upgrades on how much you actually want versus what they can do. 3, 2, 5 beds or whatever. But you can kind of see it. A pretty attractive price point for all the stuff you get in Waterside, and you're going to especially see the attractiveness of the Pulte side when you see what I show you on the Lake House Cove side, because of you being that kind of idea of the lower end of a really high-end neighborhood. So I just want to mention that, but Summerwood's a real popular model for that. We're going to look at probably one in each side here, but the Summerwood, and then they go to one that's at 566 and one that's at 610. And you can kind of see the difference. Now all these have individual elevations amongst them. They have a Southampton at 645. The Pinnacle's a really, really popular model. That's like an overall nice floor plan, minimum of 2,500 square feet, an entry level price point in the mid fives, 3 to 4 beds, 3 to 4 baths. This is like weird looking because the sales center, but this would be your garage. But just wanted to kind of give you a little better idea. So I'm going to hop into one specifically here so we can take a look around, and then we will check out Lake House Cove. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the Pinnacle, just because I know how many people that generally really are drawn to that when they're inside of it. So floor plan wise, you're going to be looking at several elevations you can do. So you can see all the different elevations you can do to the left here. And then floor plan wise, you kind of see what you're working with here. Very traditional kind of deal. So you have a myriad of different options, right? So here's your front door. You have a flex to the left. A lot of people may like a structural option would be to add French doors as an office. You have a 2-car garage with a golf cart or mini garage here, so you're not walking past the cars to get into the house. You have a split floor plan with a bedroom on the front, which is nice for like guests and that kind of thing. Kitchen flanking the middle. It's just a nice floor plan. The owner suite being in the back, so that gives you that access, slider access, private from the owner suite directly to the pool, which would be behind. So it's just laid out nice, and it laid out really nice for like a lot of general either families or empty nesters, just in general. And let me flick over and we'll look at some pictures real quick here before we move on. Okay, so this is going to be pretty typical of what you see a lot. You're going to see these models decked out, but what's possible? So what they do, they offer a lot of like tray ceilings, a lot of nice trim work. You kind of see the detail. They started doing these like corner entry sliders, which I mentioned in a previous video, that are super, super nice. And then you can do these kind of rough in. So what I did see here is they'll do these. So a lot of Lakewood Ranch is gas. You can have access to gas, so you could do the gas heater for your pool. You have the gas stove, the gas dryer, but they'll not only just pre-wire the stuff out here for the kitchen, but they'll do the vent as well. So that's really nice, because I haven't seen a ton of vents on patios that the builder will do for you. So kind of get the idea, but pretty much anything you'd want to do semi-custom within a broad range, Pulte's going to do for you. They're pretty good in that respect. So you can kind of see what's possible here. And here's this would be kind of like $75,000, $80,000 pool on a premium lot. So again, Shoreview as the entry level cheapest price point to Waterside as a whole. Entry level is probably realistically, with no pool in the current state, you're probably at least in the mid 500s all in, maybe a little bit more. 600 might be an actual more realistic entry level price point here, regardless of what the website might say. It's just going to be how it's pieced together. I'm going to talk about the fees and deposits and timelines in the last section. So let's hop over to Lake House Cove and see what their housing has to offer. Okay, Lake House Cove. So you're working with 3 total builders here. You have Homes by Town, Arthur Ruttenberg, and Lee Wetherington. So Homes by Town is they're kind of like Toll in like a nice but semi-custom feeling builder for sure, but let you do more stuff than regular. And then your Arthur Ruttenberg and your Lee Wetherington would definitely kind of be that, really, like if you ask around, that's a real custom builder. They're doing only particular neighborhoods, that kind of thing. A lot of these guys did a lot of these old regime of Lakewood Ranch, like country club and neighborhoods like that. So they're kind of renowned and great histories and that kind of thing. And they're viewed as like that premium, but it still gives you the master plan feel. But they also do a lot of this kind of knockdown building as well. So just kind of giving a synopsis of the 3, and then we'll jump in and look at individual stuff. So Homes by Town in this neighborhood gives you about 15 base models, 1,600 to 3,500 square feet. They're actually so interesting. I had mentioned about Shoreview being a real low entry point into this neighborhood. So Homes by Town is interesting because most people are doing the ones that are more expensive in there, but they actually they have a 2-bedroom model and 2-bedroom series. So you can actually get in there technically, base model wise, like in the mid 400s. Like the base model, some of these things are technically like high 300s. Obviously you got to get the lot and everything. But there are price points. There's a world on that side that you could possibly get under 500. So that's kind of interesting, especially for you'll see what I talk about here in a second. So, but broad range, you're talking about, let's say 400 to 700-ish in base model, and then 2-bedroom plus, so 2-bedroom to 5 or 6 bedrooms, same with bath. So Arthur Ruttenberg is going to have the fewest models in here. They have about 3 main base models that they're trying to work everything off of, 2,600 to 4,500 square feet. And here they're sitting at just over $1 million base to just under $1.5 million base there. And I will show you more about that. Last one's Lee Wetherington. So Lee Wetherington has about 9 base models in here. And there might be that happy medium between Arthur Ruttenberg and Homes by Town as far as the amount of models and what they do in the price points. So 9 models, 2,600 to 3,900 square feet base, and about the high $500,000 to just under $1 million from a base perspective. So let me hop over and we're going to talk about, we'll go lowest price to highest, and we'll talk about the individual models and a little bit more about the builders. Okay, so to start off in Lake House Cove, I just want to give a little refresher of the map here. Because there's multiple builders, they all have kind of zoned for different areas. So you see the Homes by Town in red. So the dark colors are sold versus future. But Homes by Town in red, yellow is Lee Wetherington, and blue is Arthur Ruttenberg. So this is kind of what they're slotted for here. So they have different sections of the neighborhood, different areas you can go, and then you're working within the current availability spread amongst the grounds. So this is a moving target at all times. So if you get deep in one builder, we can get way deeper into like, this is exactly what's available, how to piece it together, what's appropriate, and it's kind of a speed game at the moment. So let's hop over. We're going to talk about Homes by Town first. Okay, so Homes by Town was actually, they were a founding builder in Lakewood Ranch. So they were building all the way back around 1995 is when about the first neighborhood was built, which was Summerfield. Then you had like the Greenbrook and some of the older neighborhoods, but it was about 95. That's why the whole thing feels so new, is because the Lakewood Ranch as a whole is incredibly new. High school wasn't even built when I was in high school. So it's just a very new area and it feels that way. It feels kind of like a Pleasantville vibe. Homes by Town was one of those original builders. They've been around about 68 years though. They're not new to the game, that's for sure. So again, we had 15 total models here. They have a really nice look to them, very coastal, remind me of Neil a lot in the front elevations. But when I was speaking about that lower price point, you can see that a lot of the builders don't have these like, 1,700 square foot models and these kind of 2-bedroom, almost villa feeling single families, but like a really nice version of it. So that's an interesting way to go. Now again, like there's not a price point at $390 when it's all said and done. But again, it gets you in the game at a lower entry level price point. So you can kind of see that $390, several other ones, $411. So this one in here has 3 different series. It's the Cutter, the Clipper, and the Catamaran, and that's going to be a package of homes that are at different price points. And that's what's going to kind of do that sliding elevation here. So wanted to kind of show you that. I wanted to show you the style a little bit. They do a really good job, and they have a lot of interesting things from a fee perspective, how they piece stuff together. And even when they plan, like a lot of these guys, you sign the contract, then you go to design, and it's really separate. They do a really holistic job, and they're not really low pressure. And they really, you kind of know exactly what the house is going to be designed spec-wise, all in, structural and design, before they even go to contract. So that's a little bit different, but kind of nice, for someone that wants this level of house. So let's hop into one model and just look a little bit of the interior floor plan, and then we will move on to Lee Wetherington. Okay, we're going to look at the Outrigger model, which is kind of that in-between. It's 2,700 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 3-car garage, kind of nice elevation looking. What they do interesting here is they kind of have this, I think it was the aisles I was talking about doing something similar, but they have these different names for these models, but they're basically like, this one's the Fairlead model and it turns into Outrigger if you add this. So they basically have this like couple bases that they're using, and then as they add a different way they position it, then they change the name or whatever. So once you understand like the 3 or 4 models, kind of get what they're doing there. But it makes it like more standardized, a little easier to get your head around what you could do. So this one, I'll show you some pictures of it here. These ones this one's their actually design center. Like if you walk in their main model, like on site, it's this model right here. But they feel super open, really, they have really like unique stuff, you know, some like uplighting around the trays. They'll do these elaborate fireplaces as like package upgrades. So they're semi-custom, but they're semi-custom like offerings that they think of. Like you can do this whole thing right here for 11 grand. Really interesting, right? So it's just hard, you know, sometimes if you can choose anything, really nice upgrades. It's hard, sometimes that's almost more perplexing than having less options. So they do a good job at alleviating some of that stuff. But, and they do like, so I had a gentleman that did a pool, hot tub, some sort of water landing, screen, pavers, everything, and they do a pool allotment of like 85, 90K, and then you go to design and get particular with their folks. So anyway, you get the idea here. So again, a lot of different options. This one is a really interesting way to get on the Lake House Cove side because of the flexibility, really, really great customer service, some pretty low price points compared to being right next to someone that may be at $1.5 million. So homes by town. Let's move on to our second section, Lee Wetherington. Okay, Lee Wetherington. So Lee Wetherington's definitely a Sarasota veteran. They've been around for 45 plus years. They've built over 4,000 homes in Sarasota alone. You'll see them amongst various communities in South Sarasota and Lakewood Ranch. So very like traditional builder around here. And again, in Waterside and Lake House Cove, 9 base models, and you're 500 to just under $1 million. So a nice happy medium. And then availability wise, you know, if the Arthur Ruttenberg sells out, and you know, this is a nice option with that in respect. Just a little bit more variety here. You kind of get the idea here. So after you see the first one, you know. So I'm going to hop into one particular model so you can kind of see the different style versus the others, and then we will hop over to our final one, Arthur Ruttenberg. In this one, I wanted to show the Fairwater model. It's kind of a popular model. It's a big bang for your buck, and I thought it's unique as far as the elevations. So this one has the garage right here, and then a split garage over here, so a 2-car and a 1. So I thought it looked nice the way it was, and it's very unique, you know. So for this kind of neighborhood, it's cool. It has that kind of lakefront neighborhood vibe. 760K base, 5,600 square feet under central air, 3-bedroom, 3-bath base. And I'm going to show you some pictures here so we can kind of see around. But, you know, it looks really nice, I thought, on the front. I really like the elevation. Really nice back area floor plan. I'll hop over and show you that in a second. For this kind of pool, so the way it's situated with it, the way that it flanks the pool, I thought was really nice use of covered space. And, you know, they're going to have high-end fixtures available and all that kind of stuff. Let's hop into floor plan real quick. So floor plan wise, you can kind of see that same deal. It's 3-bedroom, 3-bath. It has a den, a retreat, and then a 2-car garage on one side and the 1-car on the other. So it's really nice, you know. So you have the really big communal space with the great room in front of the kitchen. You have bonus rooms. You have kind of the split floor plan availability. And this one has a Florida basement, which is interesting. But first and second floor living. So again, I thought this one was interesting. Just wanted to show you a little bit, you know, obviously we can get way deeper in individual models here, but this is a good representation of what a Lee Wetherington can do, and it's just a little different style than maybe the Homes by Toll or Arthur Ruttenberg. So let's finish up here, and I want to hop over to Arthur Ruttenberg, and then we'll move on to fees. Okay, our last one, Arthur Ruttenberg in Lake House Cove. So this one's going to be the most different. This is a super custom builder. They only build about 30 homes a year. Ish. So definitely very, very different than some of the other base model builders. So the other place I know they're building right now is that Casilla Sky Ranch, which is South Sarasota, East kind of Palmer Ranch. But you're looking at a very different experience, right? So this one is all over $1 million as a base, but a lot more options. So I talk a little bit more about availability in this next section, but we're looking at about 7 total lot/homes that you can do left in the Waterside side, just because they're not doing, you know, a trillion homes in here. They have 3 base models. Now these base models are also going to be their 3 spec homes. So of these 7, they're going to sell the 3 of the 7 is going to be these spec models. The rest are going to be custom builds. So you have the Aruba, the Talise, and the Vila, and this is a 1.1 million to about 1.4 million base. And then people are probably going much higher above that or whatever. So, but the biggest thing with Arthur Ruttenberg is you could do a basically on the custom or on the empty lots with them. You could pick one of these bases and do whatever you want, like literally whatever you want, fully drafted custom, or you can do the empty lot inside Waterside and do just a fresh build. So again, when I mentioned a lot about the west of the trail knockdown building, Someone that's looking in the Isles or something like that, or west of the trail, is a little bit over $1 million, but doesn't want to go like way higher than that. Then that lot, the lot idea in here might be interesting, just because of the sheer amenities for like a $300 HOA you can get. But you can do a full-on custom build. So that's the most unique part about Arthur Ruttenberg in here. And we're going to try to look at one of the models here. Again, this is custom, so that's really the thing to bring home about them. But we'll look at one real quick before we move on. So we'll mix it up a little bit on this one and do the Matterport look versus the pictures. So this is a villa. It's a 3,200 square feet, 3-bedroom, 3-bath. So you can kind of see the nice openness there. They got a real nice pool on this one. I'll try to go a little slow so don't make anyone sick. How about den in the front? And you're going to see a lot of people put these dens right to the right of the front door when you walk in. Kind of a nice glass door there. You'll see that a ton. And they have pocket doors here to enclose that. Real nice pool area we'll hop out and look at here. And this would be like kind of, I always talk about that like $75,000 price range with a hot tub. This type of pool, you're probably pushing 100 plus, just with the different water landings and the shape and stuff. But love the style, real modern, real wide stairs. Water feature included with the hot tub. But again, this is Arthur Ruttenberg, and this would be your custom builder inside Waterside. Let's move on to our last section and talk specifically about fees, timeline, anything else you might want to know. Okay, and finally our last section, I want to talk about fees, timelines, all that kind of stuff. Thanks for sticking with me. I know this neighborhood's a beast, but I did not want to shortchange you guys, so I was trying to give you as much context as I could humanly think about. So we're going to separate the two neighborhoods again, Shoreview from Lake House Cove, and then by the nature of this, we're going to separate the builders in Lake House Cove from each other as well. So the first one, we are going to talk about Shoreview. So, okay, a couple different things. So one of the things about this neighborhood, again, like for all of those amenities, prices super reasonable. So about $339 at the most for monthly HOA in Shoreview. And that's going to also include your lawn, again, kind of like the Isles, so lawn care, and then all amenities. So all amenities in there. So that's nice there. So this one, Pulte is the one that owns DeValsta, and a lot of people have been mentioning this, but they are a 20% deposit builder. Right now they are, at least. So that's kind of it's a pretty good, even not selling your house and stuff, it's pretty good liquidity that you need to come up with in order to do that. They do 20% across the board. So that's your structure. The pool, they do a little bit separate, but more in the same. It's about 20%. Structure, base, design, 20% is 20%. And then, so this one, what's interesting is a lot of people are building these like 8 to 12 month terms. So Pulte's still doing a 6 to 7 months in here. Now the caveat with that is they're just not letting people sign as frequently. So like right now, if you want to buy in there, you're not buying, you can't even sign that paper till March. So versus where a lot of people are going to take more contracts, longer build times, they're doing a short build time, but they're delaying the release of the current lots. So that's kind of how to think about them. That's kind of what sums up their stuff here. Your CDDs are going to be $2,000-ish at the most in this one. Okay, so let's talk about Lake House Cove. So Lake House Cove, we'll hit the same order. So homes by town first. So home by town is, this HOA is going to be kind of a conversation with all of them. So let's say HOA for Lake House Cove is going to be just under $300 a month HOA. So that's the amenities, and then you're kind of the lawn maintenance and all that kind of stuff here. Their CDDs are going to be about $2,000 at the high end with shades of gray. That's going to be in your taxes or whatever. So not terrible versus most places. So the thing I would kind of mention about homes by town is what they do deposit-wise is they're pretty relaxed about stuff. So they're 10% down and not another dollar until close. So that's just as simple as that. And they're the one, again, that they're going to consider design and structural and base and lot all together before contract signing. But then it's just 10% down, right? So that's a little bit easier entry point. So pretty low cost of acquisition initially, and easier to plan that timeline because of liquidity. These guys are working that much more normal 10 to 12 month build time frame. So that's them. So then Arthur Ruttenberg. So these guys, again, that HOA is kind of going to be this whole Lake House Cove side. So Arthur Ruttenberg they're much more, this was our third one. They're the really custom guy. You know, they're building 30 plus homes only a year. So these guys are a couple things. So availability wise, all that exists in Waterside for Arthur Ruttenberg at the moment, there's 4 dirt lots available, and there's 3 showcase homes, which are spec homes. The spec homes are going to run 1.1 mil to 1.3 million dollars. The dirt lots, usually these things are running, well, last time I talked to her yesterday, about $260,000 plus for the dirt lots. So what they're doing is basically doing the construction to permit loans. I'm not sure if you're familiar with those, but can always reach out for more info on that. Construction to permit loans on the dirt lots. So this is a complete custom builder, right? So they have the 3 models that I showed previously, but that's a pure example, and usually a cost savings if you grab one of those models. Those models are their 3 spec homes. So that's kind of how that's working. But if you're just someone that like that ambiguity is too much just to go from ground up, then you can grab a base model and then they can basically show you the world to do here. But this is completely custom. You can do anything. It's just like a knockdown build. This is a plain lot build. The sky's the limit there. So I wanted to mention that. They are 15 to 16 month build if you do a dirt lot. So keeping that in mind, again, way more custom, they're going to need a draft, and this is much more of just a complete from the ground build. With the way they do the construction to permit loans is you close on the lot in 45 days, and then they are draws throughout the process. I don't know if you've ever built a pool or you've built a house before, but they do these monthly draws or draws at milestones. Now, if you buy one of the spec homes, they're going to do a 20% down deposit on the spec home, just as if you did like a Pulte or a Homes by Town home. So that's something to think about. And then availability on these is just they're going to be more scarce with the custom builder. I think that gives you everything on them. And then let's talk about Lee Wetherington. Last space down here. Okay. So Lee Wetherington is going to be much more normal. So I wanted to hit these 2 first because Lee Wetherington's going to be in that, they're kind of in that in between. So they're going to be in that 10 to 12 months, a normal deposit. They're a little bit vague, but 10 to 12% deposit on here. They are much more of a nice semi-custom builder. So you're going to have the lot package and all that kind of stuff. So you don't need so it wouldn't be a construction and permit loan. It would be normal financing or normal cash after the deposit. So that kind of sums up this section. I hope that gives you enough context there. I think I hit everything. Let's now wrap up. Please stick around. I want to point out some other things that I've done recently, and we'll be done. All right, guys, that does it for this community feature on Waterside at Lakewood Ranch. Before you leave, I want to provide a little bit more value. Please check out my playlist on Lakewood Ranch specific right here. A lot of videos in there. Please check out my specific video on pros and cons of living in Lakewood Ranch with a data analysis tool there. Please check out my description below. Tons of links, helpful content, my contact information. Please let me know if you need anything at all from us. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.